Guadalajara definitely was Colombia, who made sure to outshine and outplay the likes of DR Congo. The Leopards making their return to the FIFA World Cup, and what a stellar showing did DR Congo also have. And I think Daniel Akpe has been chatting throughout yesterday and this morning that the goalkeepers are going to be the biggest talking point when it comes through to the FIFA World Cup. And boy, oh boy, did Mbasi do exactly that with this encounter. I don't even know how many times he kept out those efforts from Munez and Diaz, and they kept on coming, especially in that first half.
You know, I will emphasize again, if not for his, for him being focused, you know, and being alert at every point in time, positioning himself at the right place at the right time, and his flexibility actually help him, you know, saving the team not to concede much goal at this point in time. You can see it's been shot after shot because the Colombians, they realize that they cannot actually go through the gates. The DR Congo, they make, you know, the defense very compact, so it's difficult for them to go through the gate. Like I said, they must have watched the video with Portugal and realized that, no, it takes you to shoot from a distance for you to be able to get the goal. But the good thing is the goalkeeper was alert, and making those saves actually helped the team. For me, I think it's man of the match for this game, despite the fact that the team lost, but for me, it's a man of the match for this game.
A man of the match performance from Mbasi, but then again, you have to look at the kind of attempt and how Colombia would have also feel a bit hard done, because they pushed so hard, so many long-range efforts within that first half, so many efforts from Diaz. In fact, there was a moment in time where he thought the goal was in, but it was offside. But then again, it was Munez who did so well to get that important goal in the second half.
A total of 20 shots from Colombia to test the goalkeeper, and he was equal to the task for all of them. There was two close calls there with Diaz getting the ball into the net on two occasions, but a massive call there and a close call by the goalkeeper. But I tell you once again, we can't emphasize enough how massive Mbasi is. And this was so unfortunate because once again the overlapping problem, Munez once again finds himself in the box, and it was a deflection that beat Mbasi, because it looked like he was going to the far post, and he would have probably had it covered there.
Yeah, obviously he would have had it covered because it was going to the far post, and like every other goalkeeper would think, is that when you're at that angle, the player is not thinking of the near post, is actually thinking of the far post, and he already attempted to move to the far post when that deflection came in, and unfortunately for Mbasi, this became the goal that he conceded, you know, in the game.
Well, the goal that he conceded, but he had a stellar game in Guadalajara. But of course, Munez and Colombia very pleased with how they finished off this game in complete entirety. I mean, you look at the attempted goal, you mentioned the 29 on target. So the Mbasi definitely was a difference. In fact, his opposite number was not even bothered at all. That is Vargas in this encounter.
Yeah, and another stat there is the 15 seconds of ball recovery, and that just shows you that Colombia, the intensity, they lose the ball, they press it high up, they don't give the Congolese an opportunity to get out of there, they suffocate them, and they continue to keep possession and rotate it. And what a splendid display. That we thought that the hydration breaks would have taken the momentum away from Colombia and the Congolese to possibly come up with a strategy to stop them, but they couldn't do that, Andrew.
True. Trust me, on a normal day when you're just there in the goal and you're very idle, that one moment come, if you're not really alert, it goes in. It doesn't matter how easy the ball looked, it goes in. But Vargas was alert and was able to pull those saves out to keep the team still in the 3 points.
Well, it's all about a team effort. And that, of course, is how that group ends. And we had other encounters when it comes through to the FIFA World Cup as match day 2 has been wrapped. I mean, he's already seen the likes of Messi become the all-time top goal. Los Catalaros who go through on top of Group K, especially after how they kicked off their account of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. And, of course, so when it comes to Colombia being on top of the table, you then look at that result between Portugal and Uzbekistan, a Portuguese side who, of course, did not win in match day 1. And Colombia, 2 points clear of Cristiano Ronaldo and Portugal. Uzbekistan making their debut at the FIFA World Cup, finish off that group without a single point. And DR Congo at least get themselves a point after their account that is against Portugal, that draw, and this time around losing out to Colombia. Daniel, Stiger, gentlemen, I think we've seen so much when it comes to the action at Guadalajara. More than anything, 1 goal is actually not fair. We would have expected at least a good 6 or 8 from Colombia tonight. But the difference definitely was that goalkeeper. As you said, Daniel, we're going to be speaking about goalkeepers to the length and breadth at the end of this tournament. And Mbasi was definitely the difference when it comes to this encounter.
Yeah, Umpas is actually the difference between, the stake for the game tonight, this morning rather. He has shown class, he has shown resilience, he has shown focus. He has shown the reason why he's been selected as number 1. Because if not for him, probably it could have been 4 or 5 goals up, But I think kudos to the Colombians. They came out, in their and they're throwing everything they could throw in, but they could be able to go out with a goal, which took them to top of the log, this morning. They've shown so much resilience, coming into the World Cup. Play the way they played the first game against Uzbekistan, which give them edge ahead. We just want to wish DR Congo. We hope they get the last result, against Uzbekistan, and we'll start doing the calculation from there if they will go through or not.
Well, like a house on fire, Colombia. I mean, if you look at just the stats from this game, even just the Luis Diaz and the kind of attempts he made, like I'm saying, we're expecting a good 8 goals or so. But Colombia undefeated in their last 5 games at the FIFA World Cup, and they've attempted 20 shots in this game, the highest in a single match at the current World Cup by any team.
They're deservedly so. They've get their 6 points. And I tell you what, the way they started this game, the urgency, the intensity, it was brave. They knew what they wanted to do to get the 6 points. It gives them a lovely opportunity now to use the squad. But I don't know if you've seen in the pictures there, a nice moment between Vargas, the goalkeeper of Colombia, going over to Mbasi and acknowledging him, because he was the difference between a big score and a respectable loss. And then also in terms of the 3rd place for Congo, goal average. The fact they're going to come back and thank him, so they'll go into the last game against Uzbekistan and hopefully and possibly get the 3 points. And then that'll obviously put them in good state to progress to the next round.
And the beauty about this World Cup, I mean, a few days ago, the talking point was Capo Verde and Wozinha, and today it is Mbasi and DR Congo. The difference, and that is what we're talking about here today. Colombia with a 1 goal from Munez to get themselves 3 points and to go on top of Group K. When we do return, this obviously was match day 2 at the 2026 FIFA World Cup. And then, of course, we go through all those groups and wrap it up. Group K as well. Portugal knew that they needed to win that encounter, especially looking at how they were held to the sword by a DR Congo. That, of course, mentally would say, we need to come through and perform like an Argentina and a France. And they did exactly that.
Yeah, most definitely, but they have a last fixture now, and you start to think, okay, we need to end top of this group so that we can progress and meet one of the lesser sides.
Yeah.
But we know knockout football, there's no lesser side. But obviously, you don't want to be drawn up against the big guns earlier on.
100%.
So that first two positions become so important. And it actually throws a spanner in the works for especially Portugal, because they need to now come up against the Colombians, and how is that going to go? Because they're playing for the first position there. So if you thought, okay, in the third game we could possibly give some of the squad members a run, I think there's a rethink to that one for Roberto Martinez.
Well, all the joy for us who get to watch the FIFA World Cup, because that's already a lackluster and, of course, wonderful, wonderful encounter that we're looking forward to. But then again, when it comes to the other groups, earlier on this morning, it was wonderful to see how the likes of Luka Modric and co.